One introduction. My name is Bonnie. I worked at a bank in a quiet city. My life was simple. I woke up, I went to work, I went home. Every day was like the day before. I sat at my desk. I helped customers. I looked at numbers on my computer. I counted money. It was a safe job. It was a normal life. I was 28 years old. My life was okay, but it was not exciting. One day, a man came to the bank. My boss said he was a new VIP client. His name was Maximilian. He was different from other clients. He was tall and strong. He wore very expensive suits, always black ones. He looked like a man who had a lot of money and a lot of power. He was very charming. He had a nice smile, but his eyes were serious. He had an air of mystery. He came to the bank often. He needed to do large money transfers, very large amounts. His questions were unusual. He asked how to send money so that it was hard to find, hard to trace. I was a bank clerk, so I knew this was not typical. I felt a little strange about it. I asked him about these transfers. I asked why they needed to be secret. He always smiled. He said, "It is just business, Bonnie, big business." He said it in a way that made me feel better for a moment, but the feeling that something was not right did not go away. Despite the strange questions, I felt interested in him. He was so different from anyone I knew. He was exciting. He had a life I could only imagine. A life full of secrets and maybe adventure. My curiosity about him grew. It was a strong feeling, a dangerous feeling. He was charming, yes. He was rich, yes. But there was something else. A darkness maybe, a hidden world. He never spoke clearly about his business. He only hinted at it. He created a mystery around himself, and I wanted to solve that mystery. I knew it was not smart to feel this way about a client, especially a client with strange questions about money. But I could not stop thinking about him. He pulled me towards him. He made my simple life feel less simple. He made me feel like something new was possible. My story, my real story, began on that day. The day Maximilian walked into the bank. The day I met the man who would change everything. The man with the expensive black suits and the mysterious smile. The man who dealt with untraceable money. The man who was not just a businessman, too, a quick romance. Maximilian started coming to the bank much more often, but he did not come for business now. He came to see me. He often brought beautiful flowers. Sometimes he gave me small gifts. After work, he took me to dinner. We went to restaurants I only saw in magazines or on television. These places were very nice and very expensive. I felt special when I was with him. He always seemed to watch over me. He made me feel safe and important. No one had ever made me feel like that before. Our relationship moved very quickly. It felt like a strong wind. We spent a lot of time together. We talked about many things. He was always kind and smiled a lot. He listened to me carefully. I started to feel very happy when he was near. My feelings for him grew every day. It was a new feeling for me, strong and exciting. Everything felt new and bright when I was with Maximilian. He showed me a different world, full of nice things and new experiences. I liked this new world very much. I liked being with him. I felt like I was in a dream. It was hard to believe this was my life. He was so different from the people I knew. He had a quiet strength. He made me laugh. He made me feel brave. He made me feel like I could do anything. After only 2 months, something big happened. One evening, when we were at dinner, he looked at me with serious eyes. He asked me a very important question. He asked me to be his wife. I was very shocked. 2 months is a very short time, but my heart felt full of love. I was also excited about the future with him. I imagined a new life, full of adventure and happiness. I thought about living with him, sharing everything. I was overwhelmed with feelings. So I said yes. I agreed to marry Maximilian. I did not know then what this promise really meant for my life. 3. Our new home. After we got married, my life changed a lot. Maximilian took me to our new home. It was a very beautiful house. It was a big mansion. But it was far away from the city. It was in a quiet place, very quiet. There were no neighbors near us. The house was alone. It felt very isolated. The house had big, high walls all around it. There was also a large gate. At the gate there were men. They wore dark suits. They stood very still. They were guards. There were guards near the house too. They were everywhere. They did not speak much. They just watched. The high walls and the guards made me feel strange. It felt like a place to keep things inside. Maximilian told me, "This is for your safety, my dear. These walls and guards keep you safe here." He said it was important because of his business, but I did not understand. Why did I need so much safety? It felt more like a prison. It felt like a cage, not a safe home. Many cars came to the house often. They were almost always black cars. Men in dark suits came out of these cars. They went into the house. They talked to Maximilian. Then they left. This happened every day. It was not normal. It made me feel very nervous. I did not know these men. I did not know why they were here. What business did Maximilian have? I asked Maximilian about the guards and the cars. I asked him, "Why are there so many guards? Why do these men come here?" I wanted to know more. I wanted a clear answer. But he never gave me one. He would just smile and talk about something else. He changed the subject every time. He did not want to tell me. His answers did not help me. They made me feel worse. I was in this big, beautiful house, but I felt trapped. I was surrounded by guards and secrets. I was far from my old life and my friends. I was alone with Maximilian and his strange world. My fear started to grow. It was a quiet fear, but it was always there, like the silent guards outside. I did not feel safe. I felt afraid. 4. A dark secret. It was late one night. I was sleeping, but suddenly a loud noise woke me up. It was shouting. The sound came from outside, from the garden. My heart started to beat very fast. I got out of bed quietly. I walked to the window and looked through the curtains. It was dark outside, but there were lights near the house. I could see two men talking. One man was my husband, Maximilian. The other man was a stranger. He wore a shirt, and I could see something dark on it. It looked like blood. They were talking loudly. I could not hear every word clearly, but I heard some important ones. I heard the man say shipment. I heard him say deal gone wrong. They sounded very angry. Then the man said something that made me feel cold inside. He called Maximilian boss. My husband was the boss of this man, the man with blood on his shirt. What kind of business was this? What kind of deal? What was a shipment? I stood there for a long time, watching and listening in the dark. When they stopped talking, the man left quickly. Maximilian stood alone for a moment, looking at the ground. Then he came back inside the house. My legs felt weak. I went back to bed, but I could not sleep. Questions filled my mind. Who was that man? Why was there blood? Why did he call Maximilian boss? What did shipment mean? Later, when the house was quiet again, a deep silence after the noise, I got up. I needed to know more. I remembered Maximilian had an office in the house. He often worked there late at night. I went to his office. The door was not locked. I went inside. It was dark, but I found the light switch and turned it on. The room was big and filled with papers and books on shelves. I started to look around. I looked in drawers and on the desk. My hands were shaking a little, but I had to find something. I did not know exactly what I was looking for, but I felt I needed proof. Then, in a deep drawer in his large desk, I found something hard and cold hidden under some papers. I took it out slowly. It was a gun, a real gun. It felt heavy in my hand. My breath stopped. Why did Maximilian have a gun like this? He always said he was a businessman, but businessmen do not need guns like this. Not this kind of gun. Finding the gun changed everything I thought I knew. The strange questions at the bank, the high walls around the house, the silent guards, the black cars coming and going, the shouting in the garden, the man with blood being called boss. All these things came together in my mind now. Maximilian was not just a businessman. He was something else, something dangerous and secret. The man I married had a dark secret, and I had just found it. The weight of this secret felt very heavy. My world felt like it was breaking into small pieces. 5. The truth comes out. The next morning felt heavy. The sun was shining, but inside me it was dark. I knew I had to speak to Maximilian about what I had seen and found. I found him in the living room. He was reading something, but he looked up when I came in. I walked towards the table between us. My hands were shaking a little. I put the cold, heavy gun on the table. It made a small sound. Maximilian looked at the gun, and then his eyes met mine. His face became very serious. "Bonnie," he said softly. "Maximilian," I started. My voice was not strong. "Last night, I heard shouting. I saw you, and I found this." I pointed at the gun. "Who are you?" I took a deep breath. This was the hardest question. Are you in the Mafia? He didn't look away. He didn't try to lie. He just looked at me for a long moment. Then he said very clearly, "Yes, Bonnie, I am." The world stopped for a second. It was true. The man I married was a Mafia boss. All the strange things, the guards, the cars, the secrets, it all made sense now. A terrible, frightening sense. A storm of feelings started inside me. First, there was anger, hot, strong anger. How could he do this? How could he pretend to be someone else? How could he let me fall in love with a lie? Then came betrayal. He had broken my trust completely. And then the biggest feeling was fear. Cold, shaking fear. This was not a game. This was real and dangerous. He saw the fear in my eyes. He stood up and came closer. "Bonnie, please listen," he said. "I know this is difficult, but I promise you I would never let any harm come to you. Never." "Harm?" I repeated. My voice was full of anger now. "My life is in danger because of you. I want to leave. I want to go now." He reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. "I cannot stay here," I said. "I cannot be part of this." He looked sad, almost desperate. "You cannot leave, Bonnie," he said. "It's not safe." "Not safe?" I asked. "Safer than staying with a Mafia boss." "Yes," he said slowly. "Safer than leaving." "My enemies, they know about you now. They know you are my wife. If you leave this house, you will be alone. You will be easy for them to find. They will try to use you to hurt me." He looked at me with serious eyes. "Here I have guards, I have protection. I can keep you safe. It is the only safe place for you right now. Please, Bonnie, stay with me, please." My mind was working fast, trying to understand. His enemies knew me. If I left, they might find me. It was like being trapped between two dangers. Staying with him meant staying in this world of crime and secrets. Leaving meant facing unknown enemies alone. I looked at him, at the gun on the table, at the big, silent house around us. He was right. Leaving without protection could be more dangerous. My heart was broken, but my head understood the danger. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no. I just stood there, breathing heavily. The truth was out, and my life was no longer my own. It was tied to his dangerous world. I felt a deep, heavy sadness. My old life was gone forever. 6. A terrible warning. Life in the large mansion continued, but my fear was always present. One day, a small box arrived at the main gate. The guards brought it inside and gave it to me. It was addressed to me, Bonnie. My hands were shaking a little as I opened it. What could it be? Maybe a late wedding gift. But the house was so isolated, no one knew where we were. Inside the box, there was no gift. There was only one thing, a photograph. It was a picture of my little brother. He was playing in a park near our old home. He looked happy and safe in the photo. Seeing his face made me smile for a second, but then I felt a cold fear. Under the photo, there was a small piece of paper. It was a note. The message on the note was short and very simple, but it was the most terrifying thing I had ever read. It said, "Leave Maximilian or your family will pay the price." My heart stopped. My brother, my parents, they were in danger because of me, because of my husband. Panic took over my body. I couldn't breathe well. I had to do something. I had to protect them. The only thought in my head was the police. I needed to tell them. I needed help. I ran towards the main door of the mansion. I had to get out. I had to go to the city. I ran as fast as I could to the gate. But when I reached it, one of Maximilian's men was standing there. He wore a dark suit and looked serious. He put his hand out, stopping me. I tried to push past him, but he was strong. He just shook his head no. I started to cry. Big tears ran down my face. I showed him the box, the photo, the note. He looked at them but did not move from the gate. He just waited. Soon, Maximilian came. He saw me crying at the gate, trying to leave. He saw the box and the note in my hands. His face became very serious and angry, not at me, but at the message. He put his arms around me, trying to calm me down. "Who sent this?" I asked him, my voice shaking. "They know about my family." He held me tight. "I know," he said softly. "I will handle this, Bonnie. I promise you, I will protect your family. Please trust me one last time. Let me fix this problem." I looked at him, the man I married, the Mafia boss. Could I trust him? My family's lives were in his hands now. I felt completely lost and terrified. 7, a difficult choice. Maximilian had a plan. It was very dangerous, but he said it was the only way. To protect me, he needed to make everyone think I was no longer with him. We had a big argument, but it was not real. We did it in a place where people could see and hear. It looked like I was very angry and leaving him for good. I felt strange doing it, but I knew it was necessary. After this fake fight, some of Maximilian's men took me away. They drove me to a small house far from the city. This was a safe house. It was hidden, and nobody knew I was there. I was completely alone. There were no guards, no other people, just me. I felt very scared and lonely. I did not have my phone. I could not talk to my family or anyone I knew. It felt like my marriage was finished and my life was over. Days passed slowly in the safe house. One day became 2 days, then 3 days, and then a week. I spent my time thinking and worrying. I did not know what was happening outside. I did not know if Maximilian was safe or if his plan was working. One evening, I turned on a small television in the house. I watched the news. The reporter was talking about big news. They said that the police had arrested many important Mafia leaders. It was a very big operation. The news said that the police got secret information from someone. This person gave them important files. I listened carefully. The news said that the information helped the police catch many criminals. I started to understand. This must be Maximilian's plan. He gave the secret files to the police. He did this to protect me and my family. He was working against his own people. It was a very brave and dangerous thing to do. I felt a mix of feelings. I was relieved that my family was safe because of him, but I was also worried about what would happen to Maximilian now. He had helped the police, which meant his enemies would be very angry. I was still alone in the safe house, waiting and wondering what the future held. 8. A second chance. After the police arrests, Maximilian was gone. The news said he died in the fighting that happened. My family was safe now, and that was the most important thing. But my heart was very sad. I felt lost and alone without him, even after everything I knew. I spent many months trying to live a normal life again. It was not easy at all. I was always a little afraid. I often looked behind me when I walked in the street or when I heard a loud noise. I moved to a new city, very far away from the mansion and the bad memories. I changed my name. I wanted to forget everything that happened. I wanted peace and quiet in my life. One afternoon, I was walking on a quiet beach. The sun was warm, and the sound of the sea was calm and peaceful. I was very far from my new home. I saw a man standing by the water. He was looking out at the ocean. There was something familiar about him, his shape, the way he stood. He turned slowly. My heart stopped completely. It was Maximilian. He was alive. He walked slowly towards me on the sand. I couldn't speak at all. My legs felt weak. He looked different now. His clothes were simple, like a normal person's clothes, not the expensive suits he always wore before. But his eyes were the same. They were kind and a little sad, just like I remembered. He stopped a few steps away. He told me he faked his death. He told me it was the only way to leave the Mafia world forever. He said he gave up everything, his money, his power, his old name, his old friends. He did it to be free from that dangerous life. He did it so that I and my family could be safe forever. He watched me from far away for a long time after he disappeared. He wanted to be completely sure it was safe for us to meet again. He stood in front of me on the beach. The waves were quiet behind him. He looked at me with hope in his eyes. He asked me if I could forgive him for all the lies and the danger. He asked if I would be willing to start a new life with him. A simple, quiet life far from secrets and danger, far from the past. He asked for a second chance for us together. I looked at the man I loved, the man who had lied to me and brought danger to my life, but also the man who had saved me and my family in the end. He had lost everything for this chance to be free. My mind was full of difficult thoughts and feelings. Could we really have a new life after everything that happened? Could we be happy together after all the pain? He waited for my answer. The sun was setting over the water, making the sky orange and pink. It felt like a moment for a new start, or maybe goodbye forever.